This is the story of a man named Stanley.
This is a story all about a man named Stanley. Yay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We have a bucket now.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
I have no idea what this is supposed to do. But that's part of the game.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I think I'll try do this again to where I'm listening to what he says. I don't know if it's going to be any different or not. I don't know.
Still no one was here.
Wow.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
I want to know what happens when he goes down.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Alright. Thanks, bucket. I couldn't do it without you.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always.
Always, bucket.
And he knew it.
I love you,
The
bucket.
two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Guess I'll do it again.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
It's written on the bucket.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Bad right, boy. To downstairs! When Stanley clicked on the video, he gave it a like. Loading. When Stanley made it downstairs, he filled up his cum level 1 bucket. Ew.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
That's so ridiculous.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
That just cracks me up. Stanley and the bucket. Alright, we're doing this like the first thing.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Whee! Look at all of these screens. Wow.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Everything's okay, bucket. It's okay. Stanley's here.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his
Hey.
past began to sink in,
What's up there?
Stanley decided that this machinery would never exert its terrible power over
really
another
dark.
human life. For
Oh,
he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
seems legit. Alright, bucket. Sassy bucket. Waiting and what if I turn it on?
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and
Let me
to
turn it on.
everything it stood for.
Why? Yeah.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn
Bucket!
on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
What? Oh, Oscars.
Stanley
That's a pretty
flipped
bird.
through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all.
Oscar.
It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along?
Spoonbill.
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hand.
That's nice.
The one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Was he though? Was he truly happy? Oh, all right. Wow. Yeah, I was not expecting to really press the on button. I got to the button. That was different. You know what they say.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
No.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Not taking the bucket this time. I want to do the broom closet ending.
When Stanley
remember-
came to a set of tours, he entered the door on his left.
I don't remember exactly what happens. I remember that the narrator gets upset. I don't even know if I should be.
Yet there was
Spoiler
not
for
a
those
single
that have
person
not seen
here
it.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No, I did not. That door is closed. What's in here?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow.
Nuclear
just an
film.
empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Pipe wrench. Got toilet paper. Wow.
It was
Adjustable
baffling
wrenches.
that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
What is
He
that?
wasn't even doing anything.
Pliers?
At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
FA? What does FA stand for? Fucking asshole.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
I
Standing
am.
around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Well, when you're in a broom closet, usually you find a bunch of brooms, but I'm just upset that I'm only seeing one broom and a mop bucket with no mop.
You do
see?
realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
Yes,
I
it
never would have
is.
thought to mention it.
Oop.
Maybe to you this is its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite. I hope your friends
Seems
find this
legit.
concerning.
No. No, it's probably the coolest ending out there.
Stanley
With
was
them
fat and
birds.
ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
He's just fucking flat out raping his reputation. Alright.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed in front of your screen. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
No. I'm the new person. I like this broom closet too. Ew. You know, 2D that is. 2010. He hasn't said anything. I wonder if this is like a legit ending. I don't remember. I'll give it like 10 more seconds here. What if I go out and then step back in?
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I
Oh.
guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too. Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish?
I have Frisco.
Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the
fungus.
details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
That's funny. He's so buttered. Here's this whole nice story planned out just for Stanley. I'm assuming it's commentary.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ooh, hey.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
2 out of 6. That was exciting. What does that say? It's kind of scary down here.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield. And it too appeared. It was so much fun. And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
That's right.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let you pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want.
That's all I want.
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
Apartment?
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
And then?
I am okay.
All right.
Stanley began screaming.
Oh, God.
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Smack.
And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
Oh, God.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
See ya, bitch. Poor Stan. Stanley! Oh, yeah. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's see what other kind of mischief we can get in.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
me?
drawers, he entered the door on his left.
Jesus. Alright. Hello! Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. What in thunder happened? Red room? Figglies? What? How in thunder did I even get this? There will be a reward for finding them all. Yeah, I told you, narrator. You know what I mean? Shit! Instead of a sequel exhibit, check. Stairs, something to do with stairs, check. Some are both red and blue. I have a really good thought. Huh. Those are good hints, but I don't understand them yet. The large room, lots of boxes. I can't really think of that. But we're gonna continue doing what we're doing. I am mind blown. What sounds more exciting? Mind control or escape?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh, God. Violent death.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Oh, God.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Really? Okay. Cowabunga! Okay. What happened, narrator? Uh-oh. That's kind of scary. How much thunder would you live?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and short life.
No! I didn't think about that. I'm so scared.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
I knew that was gonna happen. Got me. Ooh, that's
and
me.
yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
What in thunder is going on
When
here?
every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
No. I'm still alive. I don't know what you're talking about. Filing cabinets. Boring. Doors. Solitaire. No pinball? Space pinball. Remember that? Classic. Credits, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's a choice. There's choices. Left, I see yellow. Yellow is sunshine. Okay. Charge it! Maybe there is a Stanley collectible somewhere around here. Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpret it as making fun of people who like shooters, which is not our intention. Fuck shooters. Shooters are fucking just way overrated now. Overpopulated. Change my mind. Everybody's playing that. If it ain't got horsies, I'm not interested. What was that? Oh. Oh. Oh, that was kind of scary. So, I'm kind of just exploring, but I'm pretty sure there's not going to be anything here, right? This kind of game that wouldn't have any secrets. What's that? Colors. Colors. Exit. Okay, I'm pretty sure I would have come from right over there. So, exit.
Oh,
So funny.
look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
What? I don't want to be free. Yes, I do. Hold on, I'm scratching my leg. I'm apologizing.
Can you see? Can you
No.
see how much they need one another?
No,
No,
not really.
perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Exactly.
But listen to me.
Ro-
You can still save these two.
Huh?
You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game.
Oh my god!
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Oh my god! How in thunder would you beat that? Alright. Patty cake, Baker man. Jeez. Maybe the bucket would have saved me.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket.
Can I get
This is
it?
your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I
Probably.
never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go
Yeah.
through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Alright! Listen here, broom closet!
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There.
Oh!
Now it's settled. No
Yeah!
more debate, no more discussion. Take our hike broom closet with all
Yeah.
the meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
I got my own bucket. It's got my name on it.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I wonder if there's anything else added to that downstairs thing. We're just
Stepping
walking in
into his
circles.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revel, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
He had nothing to say about being cut off and playing the soft, calming music. I'll take it. That's nice. That's real nice. Well, that's cool. I'm gonna see what the bucket has to say about the escape route, because I'm pretty curious about that, if it would have saved me. Oh.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control for... Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Damn right it was painful. That was kind of hard to watch. To play. Property of Stanley. Now that's pretty considerate, narrator. You're a good man. A good man. This is messed up.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Yeah, saved by the bucket.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous
It's the
metal
same
jaws.
thing.
In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to
The
death.
bucket?
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
And now there's a sign about the bucket. Where's my bucket? Hey! Alright, no bucket. Don't work. Speed
Can
run.
you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
I killed my bucket. I don't like this narrator. Give me my narrator back. Oh, hell no. Ew. A rusty ass bucket. I'm going for my bucket.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one.
Why not?
It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Huh? Huh? Oh. All right. Yeah. That's fucking funny.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Oh no, not
Let
again!
Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and
Bucket, no.
implements if only we
Bucket,
let
no.
Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler,
Bucket
as
will
leader,
save
as
me.
commander
Okay.
of a new world, a new vision.
God damn it! Ah, fucking bucket. It wouldn't even help.